So I'm headed up to grab my horse. It is morning time. So my mare has been under lights she's getting ready for the show in January. This is my good mare Delilah we're talking about. And just kind of keep the hair off. Like she still grew a coat. She's from Wyoming, but I want to kind of share with you guys what my strategy is lately with her. So she gets a little impatient in the morning. She might bang on the gate or start pawing or rake her teeth on the fence. And so I've started a little strategy, and so I thought I'd share it with you. So we're gonna go get her caught, and then I'll kind of talk you through it. All right, we got her caught here. So we're gonna head out so generally what I would do, here's my pattern that I would do that she figured out. I'd catch her, lead her to the pasture and turn her out. So that's where she started to get impatient. As soon as she saw me, she's like, we're headed to turn out. So what I want to do is break up the pattern and make something less fun. So when I went and caught her in the morning, she wouldn't think, oh, time to party, we're going out. And so because she kind of thought that, she would get impatient. So now what I do is I lead her, and halfway between her pen and the turnout is the stock trailer. So we take her over to the stock trailer here and we tie her up, and we wait for her to be patient, tied to the stock trailer. And then I'm gonna leave her here for a little bit while I do a couple things, and when I come back, I'm gonna show you what we do next, because we would like to accomplish more than one thing at a time. So in this, we're getting her more patient, and we also have something we're trying to teach her, and so we're gonna get that done too before we turn her out. Turn out is something she wants, and also we're gonna give her some cookies, so hopefully no one, on here hates cookies, because we use them a little, we don't use them a lot, but I'm gonna go do a few things, and when I get back, I'll show you the next step. We're headed back over to Delilah here. It hasn't been too long, but she's been in this practice for a little bit, so she's kind of figuring out, like, okay, just be patient. Because I don't pull her off the trailer unless she's patient. But I want to take a minute to talk about this, because this is a big struggle for a lot of people. We accidentally but predictably build in this impatience in our horses, and they start pawing and doing different things, and it can be extremely frustrating. So I thought, man, this is such a good topic because of that frustration. So one of the things that makes horses so good and trainable is their ability to predict what's coming, their anticipation for things. And so we can use it to our benefit, and we also can use it to make our horses drive us crazy. Like if we do the same pattern every day. Now, Delilah's, well, she's 7 this year now. So I would still consider that fairly young. So I don't think I would have to do this forever. But when I start to notice her getting impatient is when I'll go back to something like this, where I break up the pattern, I tie her up for a little while. Some people might ask, well, how long are you going to leave her tied up? Well, generally as long as it takes, because I've built this into her since she was younger, and so it doesn't take her very long to be patient. But, oh, does she have food and water tied to the trailer? No, she doesn't. If she was a colt and I thought it might take all day, then she probably would. But I just don't carry the belief that every horse needs water in front of them 24/7 and food in front of them 24/7. I think there's a little bit that comes from withholding, and I'm not a habitual withholder of food and water, but in the wild, many of these horses will go a day without a source of water and travel 40, 50 miles in that 24-hour span. Well, and obviously some longer because they're out there dying of dehydration. So, but I think one of the ways you encourage your horse to value water and want to drink, say on the road, our horses are pretty good drinkers on the road, is they have to learn how to be thirsty. And so one way you would teach a horse to drink before you put them away is you'd ride them, you'd offer them water, they wouldn't drink it, you'd tie them up. You'd come back an hour or two later, you'd offer them water, they wouldn't drink it, you'd leave them there. Come back 2 hours later, you offer them water, they take a drink, you put them away. Well, that just builds in a habit of them understanding to take water. So let's get back on the topic here. We're gonna go pull her off, and then the next piece of this is I decided a couple weeks ago, I've got a show in a week and a half with her. I decided I wanted to teach her what they call a camel bow. And so what I started doing in this habit of tying her up is I'd tie her up. When she got patient looking, like she's standing over here pleasantly, I would untie her and work on my camel bow. And then when I liked that, I'd put her away. And generally the camel bow sessions are anywhere from, I would say 90 seconds to probably the longest one's been 6 or 7 minutes. And one of the reasons I think it works so good, a lot of people talk about positive reinforcement and how it's like the best way to teach. What they don't talk about is when they were doing those experiments, a lot of times part of the process was withholding food. So you build in a desire to want the food even heavier, which, like I said, these aren't starving animals. This horse is far from starving. She looks like a broodmare right now, but you can't tell because her blanket's on. And like, if she gets a little antsy, like if she gets antsy with me standing here, I'm just gonna walk off and go do something else. Like if I get close to her and she tells me to put her away, I will leave. And it's another way you build in that patience, and they start to realize to be more patient and not get in a hurry, because just because I walked over here doesn't mean I'm putting her out. So she got a hay net all night, and most of the time she doesn't even finish it, but she has a desire to be out in this pasture with these mares. You can see my yellow mare laying down, and there's a big old round bell out there. And so because she probably hasn't eaten in a few hours, because she associates breakfast with out there, I use alfalfa pellets to reinforce my bell. So I'm gonna see if I can get my phone set up, take her blanket off, and we'll work on this. And I wanna say this is probably around the 8th or 9th session of this. And she's also, oh, she's starting to pause, so we might just leave for a minute. But this is like the 8th or 9th session with this. So that's about where we're at. And you can see her really starting to connect the dots and know what to do and where to put herself. And hopefully, you know, a week and a half, I can use it in my performance. Okay, so one thing you may not think matters is doing these tricks in exactly the same place for a short while as you're teaching them. I find that to be fairly important and helpful. So I've never actually done it right here. I normally do it about 30 feet that way, but I've got my phone propped up, so that'll help us. And another thing is, for the trick, eventually I want it to be me kneeling down. She's already trying to do it. You can't see her hind end as well, but I want the cue is me to be looking this way, kneeling down. So I'm just starting to put that in there. Let me get her lined up here and get her back feet square. And then so as I get ready, I'll turn this way and get low. And then if she doesn't execute, I'll just start tapping the back of her legs. The right one, then the left one, then the right one. And if her back foot steps forward, I'll just back it back up a little bit. And she's mildly impatient, so I can tell you in my brain, I'm already considering retying her up after this, even though I normally turn her loose. I'll get a little bit more, and then I'll come down here, and I want her head between her legs, so that's where I'll give her a little cookie right there and help her understand. And then I am going to back her up, and all that's kind of part of what's going to happen in the show too. So I'll just get her ready again here. I'm going to get just a little further away. Hopefully you guys can see her whole body. There. Get her back feet squared up. And then I'm going to start the same process. I'm going to come right here and kneel down, and then I'll start tapping the left front, right front, left front, right front, and then her back foot step forward, so I'll just back her up a little bit. Good. And I'd like to get her square. Good. Start again. So every time that back foot steps forward, I just back her up again so she understands. And this is a little tough work because she does the Spanish walk. I'll just wait on this left front. So in the Spanish walk, I really want her back feet to come with her. One more. Okay. Now get down low. There. See how she's already coming to meet me for that treat between her front legs. Good. So, and that may be a little tough for you guys to see. It looks like the camera angle is not perfect, but I just set this up so that I can practice this 3 or 4 times before I kick her out. I'm going to come in here again, kneel down, tap this left front. For some reason, she always quarters just a little to the right to get set. There, one more. Good. And then when I get down here, I want her over here, and I may even start giving her that treat on the other side of her right front because she wants to curl to me, and I might want to start balancing that and get her. I like her when she stretches out to come straight down like this, and if you watch my freestyle, you'll see why. And so that's just a little bit of building good habits while teaching tricks, like blending in. You know, I've only got so much time in the day, so especially with my personal horses, I've got to make sure I get the most out of my time. And so she's a little more motivated to do this trick right now, and when I get her out later, we'll do it again in the arena. But for now, we're going to kick her out and go to church, and hope you all have a good Sunday. We'll see you next time.